Anyway, thanks for clapping for me, but I know you want to clap for Dennis and Zach, so let's bring that. This is Dennis Quaid, a phenomenal performance. So Dennis Quaid, and I think you didn't see him like that, and then Zach, I don't think you've ever seen him like that either. So it's Dennis and Zach, come on, please.
We knew the programming team, we just knew this would be, we had to show this film to you here in this theater. You know, it's kind of it would be great alchemy. Why don't you talk about how you got this going?
I have to say, excuse me that I stayed for 5 minutes and then I came back for the last 20 minutes. In the first 5 minutes, I showed it, you know, we showed in Venice, Telluride in Toronto. But I turned to Michael, I said, Michael, they're laughing at the lines. I said, what a great, good audience. So
what he said was finally a non-pretentious audience.
Thank you for that. You know, probably like everyone, I'm wondering where my food came from, and I've been reading a lot of Michael Pollan. And anyway, when you want to know where your food comes from, it ends up coming from corn, all of it. And so I went out to the cornfields in Iowa. I also went to Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, North Carolina, but mainly in Iowa. A lot of time with farmers, and all of them kept telling me expand or die, get bigger, get out. They kept saying it over and over again. And I thought about Willie Loman, and I thought about, at that time we were right in the middle of a crisis, economic crisis, and it all made sense with those words. I kept hearing those phrases. And I said, this could be a great place and a way to tell that story. And then the modernity of the farm, everything was so much about business and multi-million-dollar businesses with these very high-tech machines and satellite, and if you had a 1,000-acre farm, it was considered small. I said, this is the opposite of all farm films we used to, so I thought it would be a way to reimagine the heartland.
Sure. Were you imagining Dennis and Zach as you were writing, or did you have, was that a...
No, I didn't think much about it. There were real people that I had met, so I thought about them and I just mixed things up, and then once it came time to cast, and the idea of Dennis and Zach came, they just seemed like perfect for the part. And I met, Zach was doing, I actually met Zach first. He was doing New Year's Eve, and I heard he had read the script and he was interested in the script in a meeting. So we met and we immediately clicked. He really got the part. He even said a few things about the part that I added to the script, dialogue actually, by chance. And then, but I couldn't cast him, I had to cast my lead. So then I said, well, I need to find the lead. In fact, I think I was still even writing still. And then the idea of Dennis came, and it was just perfect because I'd grown up loving his work, and I like the idea of subverting the hero, like the American hero went to the outer space and was the football coach and all these things, and then to smile, I had to turn it into and then I came here and we met, and Dennis is so literate and he's so knowledgeable about subjects and movies, and you know, I gave both of them Death of the Salesman, and so then Dennis and I bonded here. And I said, well, Dennis, he said, who are you thinking about for the son? And I said, Zach. And he thought for a little bit, he said, that's a damn good idea. And so it worked out.
Well, it's funny, you have so many choices of what you can do, so we'd love to hear from you how it was for you to be approached by Ramin and take this.
Well, I heard that Ramin was interested in me doing a film of his, and he sent me the script, and immediately I was drawn to it because it sent through my heart. How do you do something like this? I couldn't put it down, and along with that, I wasn't familiar with Ramin's films at that time, and I was sent Chop Shop and Goodbye Solo and Man Push Cart, and one in particular, Chop Shop, hit me in a way. The performance that he got from these non-actors, they were just real people, and I felt like you were watching it wasn't a movie, and it was something real, and I wanted, I told Ramin, if you could get a performance out of me like that was non-acting, I really wanted to work with it.
Anything to add for yourself? About how you approach this, about, you know, working with Ramin, taking the film on?
I had seen some of Ramin's films by the time we had met, and when we talked, Ramin played his cards close to the vest. He didn't show anything. But when we talked about the character, I told him in what ways I could relate, and it seemed to have some sort of effect on him. He was very quiet about it at the moment. But then I got a call a few hours later. Hey, you want to do a film? So it was pretty cool. I enjoyed playing this character. It was it's very American and very, very cool. And thank you. I mean, great work.
You know, of course I knew all of Dennis's films just from growing up. And when I was like, who should I go to? Ideas were coming, and Dennis's name came up. I YouTubed him. And I watched him on Ellen, the TV show.
Wait, who?
I didn't have to him.
I've seen that a bunch of times.
He was doing something called improvisational comedy.
That is quite a zero.
Yeah. With comedy, and I really liked it. I said, I got a glimpse as to who he might actually be, and I thought he was really good at improv, so I said, this could be the guy. And Zach I knew from Rick's film, and then I called Rick, and Rick said,
Referring to me and Orson.
me and Orson as well. I
Rick
only
Linklater.
seen, so what's that?
Said Richard Linklater.
Richard Linklater, Mr. Linklater. And I really liked the film, and I liked Zach in the film, and Rick was like, get it, he's so good, you know. But I didn't know his other films, so I YouTubed Zach on the late night talk shows. And
We got this movie off YouTube? Wow.
well, I didn't know much about the talk show.
What a revelation.
I didn't know what he was talking about, and I was watching it from a distance, and when he would laugh to the audience, he looked sinister almost. And I said, he could play this dark character. And then we talked and met him, and I said, these guys are going to be perfect for the film. But I tell you, because I didn't remember too much history. I had a lot of history with non-professional actors, and they're great, but with non-actors, you have 6 months, you're working with them, you know them, you rewrite for them, you know, move your head, move your hand, do this and that. The joy of this was, I had a big film to make, I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't have to tell them much of anything. They were pros, they brought it all with them.
So when are you going to start working with professional actors?
I recommend YouTube if
We have a few minutes to take some questions from the audience. Sure.
I wanted to ask Zach about what attracted you to the script. Was it just the darker material? And what did you do to get in the race car mode?
The question was, what did you do to get in the race car mode, and what attracted you to the script?
I think I appreciated Dean's struggle and what he was going through. Just, he was sort of a defiant character. He's defying things that in history are all said to be correct. His forefathers and forefathers before him lived by this code. But in his spirit, he knows that it's wrong. So he's trying to divert from that path. And I believe that that's our generation. I just identified with it, I agreed with it. As far as the race car scenes go, I woke up one day in a rally car, going like 80 miles an hour in a figure eight on a dirt track with a 550 horsepower engine and like no traction control. And I was actually pretty good at it. So we just started filming it. And that was how it happened. Now I'm a pretty damn good driver.
On the ARCA, on the big asphalt track, Zach, I think you went up to about 140.
148.
And that they wanted to go faster, but the producers flagged it. It's like you cannot, you know.
My lead driver goes, I could have taken you faster, man. You were pretty good. You could have taken you faster. But the producers flagged it down. Insurance.
All that stuff in that ARPA race, that's a live environment. In fact, the first day of filming was that race. We shot for 2 days. I think it was about 120 in the pit area. And we have no control of the space at all. I'm used to it from my other films. And these guys were like, they didn't even blink. People would come and go in the middle of the shots and interrupt, like, excuse me, where's the pit area number 12? And they would continue with the scene. So it was amazing to watch these guys do that. Crazy.
Yeah. How awesome was it for both of you to get the opportunity to make out with Heather Graham?
The question is...
She's not bad company.
Is that a rhetorical question?
Repeat the question.
Let's just... Never mind.
My question's for Zach.
There's a lot of waving and blinking and
I was wondering, like, what was the biggest challenge that came from going from, like, the Lorax to this? You know, from, like, being a good guy always and, like, so charming.
The biggest challenge from the Lorax to this. That's a crazy question. I don't even know how to answer. I don't even know where to begin.
animation.
Let's try another one. Let's go over here. You want to approach or you want to think about it for a minute? Okay, let's move in.
Sorry, I don't know.
We're going to go forward here. You're trying.
I have a question for Zach. So,
Better be better. Go ahead.
okay, so my boyfriend is currently deployed, so I was wondering if you might want to go to prom with me.
So unfair, those questions. It's like, well, your boyfriend's deployed, so she's asking you to go.
So your boyfriend's deployed, meaning he's a Marine or a soldier?
He's in the Navy.
He's in the Navy, and you want to ask me to take his girlfriend.
Hey, I emailed him.
Is he a long way out at sea?
Is he a Navy SEAL?
He's mass communications. He takes pictures.
Oh, go for it, man. That's already party stuff. Do it.
Okay, let's try it, guys. Back. Okay.
And we'll talk about that later.
I have a question about, as a director, what you were going for at the ending, and as actors, how you felt, what kind of, not really finished characters, but you could see a lot more happening, how you felt ending a movie like that.
Question is about the ending from the director and the actor's point of view.
You know, I never end any of my movies with the ending like tying it all together because I really haven't any idea how to do that. And it just doesn't seem to be the way that life is. The most definitive ending that's going to happen in my life is I'm going to die. But even then, anyway, people know me and they're going to still, they're going to still remember. So I don't know about definitive endings like that. I wanted to end it more on an emotional resolution and a philosophical one. And in terms of Dennis's character, what I find so haunting or paradoxical about the ending is that he's gotten all the things he wanted, but he has to ask people if he's happy, because I think potentially he's probably not happy. And so I really wanted it more as a question, which is, if people can get away with these things, which they're getting away with them all the time, it's called the housing crisis and the banking crisis and everything that's happening all around us on a daily basis, and everybody is getting away with it. I think it's leaving a scar somewhere, in this case on a family, and then I think that family could be a community because it does impact the community, the Johnson family. And I think that scope keeps getting broader and broader and broader into who gets impacted by these decisions. For me to end it would mean that that emotion couldn't come out into the audience, so I let it to be open.
Yeah, at the end, I mean, there's still this body down the well that people are looking for, and it's out there, and you know, they're picking themselves up by their bootstraps, but there's a haunting out there that could come up 2 days later, 20 years later. Who's to say? It's something that they have to live with, and it is unresolved. And I think that's what's fascinating about Ramin's movies, is that he doesn't put a period at the end of things, and in a way, he puts a question mark. And sometimes I think his movies ask questions that sometimes we don't even know the answer to, that you yourself don't know the answer to.
Well, I really wouldn't know what to do in that situation. If I was in Dennis and Zach and Kim Dickens, the wife, I don't know how I would behave. So I'm not in a position to judge those characters. But I wonder about, anyway, I wonder about the country and the pressures that the characters are under based on the system. And this system of expand or die, I think, is corrupting the country in a way that is not what the country was about. That's not what Adam Smith talked about in terms of capitalism. It's not what de Tocqueville talked about when he came to America and talked about what a great country it was. He talked about capitalism as a pragmatic thing, which is what's good for me should be good for you. Of course, it could be a little bit better for me, but the amount of better for me has gotten so warped that it's no longer good for you, and it's ultimately not going to be good for the person that is benefiting right now. And I think this is a problem.
Okay. The first person who yelled is the last name.
Someone up there that we can't see. Just to get someone upstairs.
Okay, balcony, go ahead. Yell them out. Hello?
Can you talk about the consideration of tone and how you decided to change it so drastically instead of kind of like making it the atmosphere darker at the beginning?
The question is about tone, and we're starting dark, kind of.
Yeah, he's asking why is it not a darker tone from the beginning. The one thing I put in the beginning to try and prepare you for where the story can go is the cemetery. And Dennis's total lack of regard for somebody who's passed away. But I like the idea of starting it. I like the idea of starting it with some humor and some feeling that that it could be okay, things could be okay in this movie, and then slowly going to a darker place. I thought it could make the journey bigger, and I like the mixing up of life and death. I had it in my other films too, and I like it here, especially in the end, where they seem so happy when they're dancing, but the music is saying something else. So I was trying to do that. I don't know if it worked.